accomplished in the Thai cave rescue effort, but a tragic twist for an Australian doctor who played a lead role.
Bad decisions and market failure. The competition watchdog's damning findings on skyrocketing power prices.
A British ski instructor faces court over a shocking attack on a Newcastle couple in Jindabyne.
Blues brooms at the ready, New South Wales gunning for an Origin clean sweep.
Breakthrough for France. And wild celebrations as France qualifies for the World Cup final.
This is NBN News with Paul Lobb and Natasha Beyersdorf.
Good evening. Cheers and shouts echoed across the world when the stranded Wild Boars soccer team emerged from Thailand's flooded cave system and was reunited once again. The man who put the 12 boys and their coach first was last to leave.
But Australian hero Dr. Richard Harris walked straight into a family tragedy with news his father had died.
The man Australia most wants to praise, most wants to talk to about his courage in Thailand, today had other things on his mind. Dr. Richard Harris from Adelaide is mourning the death of his father, who passed away last night soon after the successful completion of the rescue operation at Chiang Rai. His colleagues at South Australia's Air Emergency Service are supporting him.
It's tough. You know, if you can imagine being physically and mentally exhausted through going through a rescue, and then have to deal with that when you're your absolute lowest ebb. You've given your all, and then you find out the sad news about your father, who's your best mate.
Dr. Harris, an experienced diver, journeyed at least 3 times into the cave, checking the boys and their coach ahead of their journey out of the mountain.
Oh, he's an amazing person. As he went right through, I believe, to the very end, like even after the last kids were pulled out, he was still helping with the very last retrievals, I believe. So he went in and out of there lots of times to help out and risking his own life.
An anaesthetist, he administered anti-anxiety medication to the boys before that ordeal. He has earned unstinting admiration.
They're best, not good. Just the best, very best.
Today, Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull rang the rescue team.
Is Dr. Harris there?
Yes, he is.
Hi, Doctor, and thank you so much for your extraordinary work, and we know it's a tough time for you at the moment, so you know, lots of love there.
The big heroes in this are these children and the 4 Thai Navy SEALs who are looking after them. They're the toughest blokes and kids I've ever had the privilege to meet.
The very mission that kept Dr. Harris so far from his dying father saved 12 boys and a young man. On a stretcher, on a drip, on oxygen, fussed over by doctors. The last boy out, it sent Thailand laughing, clapping and cheering. Roadside crowds saluted the rescue workers. Others took up the victory chant of their Navy SEALs. The family of the coach was ecstatic.
How is he doing?
I was dancing around the house when I heard he was saved, she tells me. I am very happy, she says. Thank you, all the foreign divers. The rescue workers are heroes. So too, the local governor. The happiest press conference of all.
They want to see the World Cup football. The World Cup football.
And how is their health? How are they doing?
They're doing well.
The rescued boys are in isolation in hospital, 2 with minor chest problems. Several have high levels of white blood cells, possibly from fighting infection.
How amazing is this for Thailand to have this happen?
Very best lesson learned. We will bring this to teach everybody and every organization in the future.
The success of the rescue came at a cost. The death of a Thai diver who had been replenishing air tanks in the flooded cave. 18 days ago, the boys and their coach walked into the cave. A little adventure after soccer training they never could have suspected would become the centre of an epic rescue that would at first grip and then enthrall the world. The retrieval of the final 5, 4 boys and the coach, seemed to go like clockwork last night. In fact, pumps that proved so crucial in lowering water levels in the cave apparently failed, and rescue workers had to rapidly evacuate ahead of a dangerously advancing tide. When nurses and divers emerged from the cordoned-off cave entrance, they were greeted with admiration, pausing to give little blessings in return to the crowd. The ordeal, the triumph, it's like a movie. In fact, watch this space. 2 Hollywood producers are already in Chiang Rai, planning to get the story on the big screen. The facts are much sweeter than fiction, a victory against all the odds.
Alice Monfries has followed the story for the past week. She filed this report from Chiang Rai a few moments ago.
Well, they do have a long road ahead, but doctors say their signs of improvement are remarkable. The first 4 boys who were rescued, you may remember 2 of them had minor lung infections. Chest x-rays have come back today showing that is clearing up really well. The second group of boys who were rescued today had their chance to finally see their families, but once again, it was only from behind a glass wall because they are still waiting on test results to confirm that they didn't pick up any contagious illnesses or infections while they were down in the cave. And then the final 5, the last 4 boys and the soccer coach, well, they have just stunned doctors with their state of health. We're told they all emerged from the cave with normal core body temperatures, except for just one who is showing some slight signs of hypothermia. So good news that the Wild Boar soccer team are now all reunited and are all on the mend.
Alice Monfries there. 20 Australians played a critical role in the international mission to save the players and their coach, some spending hours in the depths of the cave system. Today, those Australians praised the Thai authorities, saying the operation was truly a team effort.
We've watched the pictures emerging from the depths of the Tam Lawan caves, transfixed by fear and hope. At the heart of it, a band of brave Australians.
Our people spent 75 hours in that cave.
When they arrived, the Australian divers started work immediately, facing an operation that was unprecedented.
You can understand the complexity and scale was unknown. Unfamiliar territory, and they were involved with the exploration and assisting with the location of the soccer team.
That meant diving before pumps were installed.
They were dealing in a very unfriendly environment. It was dark, it was narrow, it was flooded.
For the complex operation to follow, this was simply the first challenge of many.
Moving approximately 20 tonnes of equipment through the caving system.
That included hundreds of air tanks, industrial pumps, medical supplies and food. The AFP employed 6 specialist divers with another from the Australian Defence Force, backed up by a wider support crew in Chiang Rai, Bangkok and Australia. But one of their team was not here today, and their thoughts were with the remarkable Dr. Richard Harris, seen here with support diver Craig Challen from Western Australia.
He's an extremely humble man, and the amount of weight and pressure that was pushed on him in the role that he played, I have the utmost respect for everything that he's done.
This is what Australia does best, and I'm so pleased that we were able to put together a team of experts whose skills were required.
The Prime Minister is planning a special ceremony to recognise their achievement. All involved, though, have also paid tribute to the Thai authorities for leading and supporting the international effort.
There are extraordinary people doing extraordinary things. And when you have a common purpose, particularly when there's a human element involved, everyone steps up.
The Aussies say they'll look back on this mission with a sense of great pride, something they'll share with those of us who willed them on.
It was probably the most monumentous and inspirational effort they've ever been a part of.
For them, though, the good news event of the year has been returning the Wild Boars soccer team to their loved ones.
To the day's other news now, and households could save $415 a year on power bills under a radical overhaul of the electricity market being recommended by the consumer watchdog. In a damning review, the ACCC said prices have been forced up by market failures and years of bad decisions by state and federal governments. Inland Australia shivered this morning as temperatures plunged to -6 in some parts.
We have to get the heat on earlier in the morning, especially with the kids.
But high electricity prices mean some are forced to shiver at home.
We sit under blankets at home just to get warm because we can't afford to have our heaters on.
A competition watchdog investigation of the electricity market has found Australians are paying the price for years of bad decisions.
And you have to make changes in all parts of the system if you're going to reduce electricity prices.
Everywhere the watchdog looked, he found a broken system that was costing consumers cash. The overbuilding of poles and wires, a lack of competition in generation, overly generous state solar feed-in tariffs, a federal renewable energy target that distorted the market by subsidising weather-reliant generation that couldn't deliver power on demand, gas prices inflated by unregulated exports, and deeply confusing retail pricing that stranded customers on overpriced deals. All this combined to drive average power bills up by $426 over a decade.
When the head of the ACCC comes out and calls out this market isn't working for vulnerable consumers, you know that you've really got a serious issue.
Rod Sims levelled his strongest criticism at the energy retailers' pricing plans.
Deliberately misleading or confusing customers.
The competition watchdog says the average household electricity bill could be as much as 25% lower, a yearly saving of $415. It's making 56 recommendations to help achieve that, including preventing power generators from having more than a 20% market share, stopping network providers overspending on their poles and wires, and standardising power bill pricing plans offered by retailers. Malcolm Turnbull seized on this damning review to urge states and his own party to back his energy plan. That's what this is all about, lower electricity prices. Now they have to be delivered. Chris Ullman, NBN News.
A Newcastle man is facing up to 10 years jail over the New Year's Day death of his partner's uncle at Newlambton. Ivan Johnson-Gill was behind the wheel of Giovanni Varagnolo's car when he struck the 54-year-old and left him for dead.
It was a simple act of kindness which cost one man his life and could see another jailed. Ivan Johnson-Gill today admitted to hitting and killing 54-year-old Giovanni Varagnolo while behind the wheel of his Holden Statesman. The 45-year-old braked harshly and swerved, but collided with Mr. Varagnolo on Railway Road, but then accelerated, causing the vehicle to run over the deceased. As Mr. Varagnolo lay dying on the road, Johnson-Gill drove the car to his house, then continued drinking. When police arrived, Johnson-Gill came out and told them, "I was the driver, you don't have to do fingerprints or DNA the car anymore." When questioned by officers, Johnson-Gill told them he had been driving too fast and was in a rush to get home and start drinking. Prior to the collision, Johnson-Gill consumed 2 cans of bourbon, a beer, and also smoked cannabis. Then drank another 1-litre bottle of self-mixed bourbon and 3 ciders immediately after. When asked why he didn't stop and help Mr. Varagnolo immediately after hitting him, he said he simply panicked. Johnson-Gill said he didn't call 000 because he had no credit, and when asked why he didn't use his partner's phone, he said because I knew she'd ask questions. Johnson-Gill will front Newcastle District Court later this month, where a sentence date will be set. Tyson Cottrell, NBN News.